1 second. Okay. Dr. V. Kantharaju sir has received his PhD in history from Bangalore University, Bengaluru or Bangalore. He has more than 10 years of teaching experience. Currently, he is working as assistant professor in the Department of History, Central College Campus, Bengaluru City University, Bengaluru, Karnataka. His research interests include economic progress in history of India, Indian nationalism, regional history of Karnataka, and in particular Bengaluru city. As a faculty of history, he has developed keen interest in enlightening the students of both undergraduate and postgraduate levels in the domain of global, national, and regional history. He has presented several research papers in annual sessions of Indian History Congress, South Indian History Congress, Karnataka History Congress, international, national, and state level different kinds of universities, seminars at different universities, colleges of India. He has published a number of research articles uh, in various books as chapters, articles in different journals. He has published these articles in both Kannada language and also English language also. So again, I welcome him. And sir, Vanvasi sir, you want to say something before he starts?
No problem, sir. Let him continue. We'll see at the end then. Hmm?
Okay, sir. So I welcome Dr. V. Kantharaju sir to please start his lecture. I believe that everybody will be beneficial from this lecture, not only students but also all of us faculty here in LIT Nagpur. So once again, I invite him to deliver his lecture. Please start, sir. Sharing your
Thank you.
screen, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, I'm not able to the video. Okay, fine. So before that, I start the lecture. So I would like to thank the Lakshmi Narayana Institute of Technology, Nagpur, management of the Lakshmi Narayana Institute of Technology and Nagpur, and Professor R.P. Mankar, Director, LIT, Mr. B.A. Banwase, President, LIT, Mr. J.B. Modak, Vice President, LIT, and Dr. Vikesh Lade, Convener, LIT, and Program Coordinator, Dr. Asar, Ahmed sir. So it's my privilege to address you, particularly in this way, about the history of innovations in India. So before
Sir,
I
sorry, sir, to interrupt, sir. Can you increase your volume, sir, little bit?
so it's already more only, sir. Now, now is okay.
Yes, sir. Better, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. So before I start my lecture, so I would like to share a few things about uh, the heritage of the Indian science and technology. So as all of us are familiar, so today we are in the scenario of the science and technology. So today, whatever the particular events or each and every activities of our present life completely depends on the science and technology. So then, how this science and technology uh, in India, how it was evolved from the so in that aspect, today I would like to address in this particularly about the scientific and technological developments in Indian heritage. So as a part of the present topic, history of innovations in India. So in the process of evolution of man and civilization, science and technology occupies a significant place. So in this context, the study of ancient India and Indian history is important. So it tells us when and where people developed their earliest culture in India, how they began undertaking agriculture and stock raising, which made life secure and settled. It shows how the ancient Indians discovered and utilized natural resources and how they created the means of their livelihood. to get an idea of how the ancient inhabitants made arrangements for food, shelter, and transport, and learn how they took to farming, spinning, weaving, metalworking, and the like how they cleared forests and founded villages, cities, and eventually the large kingdoms. So the present topic which I would like to share with you. So how the science and technology was also today we are considering part and parcel of our life. So this development of science and technology is not the present one. When man started to lead a scientific or civilized, systematic and civilized life, so he started to innovate the new tools and equipments which were essential for his life. Later on, they became part of his life. So in the world history, we have more than 6 ancient civilizations. Among them, almost all the civilizations contributed in their own way to the scientific innovations from the beginning. For example, the Egyptians and their pyramids and the scripts, and Mesopotamians and significant contributions to the cultural life or civilizations. Even the other civilizations like China and the Inca civilization and Greek Romans. So in addition to this, the Indian civilization is also one of the ancient civilizations of the world. Since its beginning, so it adopted some of the innovative techniques in its civilization. So in that aspect, let us know how the Indian peoples, they are adopted that scientific scientific way of life in their life. The process of the civilization. So as the one of the oldest civilizations in the world, the Indian civilization has strong traditions of science and technology. Ancient India was the land of sages and seers, as well as the land of scholars and scientists. Research has been shown that the making the best steel in the world to the teaching the world count, India was actively contributing the field of science and technology centuries long before. Modern laboratories were set up. Many theories and technical techniques discovered by the ancient Indians have created and strengthened the fundamentals of modern science and technology. With some of the groundbreaking contributions have been acknowledged, some are still unknown the most. The incredibly vast sources, both literary and archaeological, relating to the history of science and technology in India have attracted the attention of scholars, alike Indians and foreign. Since independence, Indian scholars, though their numbers is woefully insignificant in comparison with those in other areas of study, we have been making concrete efforts even with the limited support available to them. Most of these scholars are in the universities and other institutions engaged in critical studies on the history of science out of their own violations. The National Commission for the Completion of History of Science in India over the period of 50 years promoting studies in the field. The Indian civilization. So with this, so about to know about the ancient science and scientific and technological development. So we have abundant source materials, which is literary as well as archaeological. So from the beginning, when the Indian antiquities were discovered by the Europeans, since then our archaeological remains and other literary evidences proved that from the beginning, Indians had that scientific knowledge, various fields or branches of the science. So being the most ancient civilization, among the surviving civilizations, has a good heritage of science, astronomy, and mathematics. And in addition to that, the metallurgy, botany, agriculture, architecture, and a number of other areas of scientific investigations useful to the practical life was going on in India. Compared with the vast development in these areas, in modern times, the early scientific studies, not application, studies and applications of these studies may appear elementary, but these constitutes the roots of the vast banyan trees of the modern science. So here, with this introduction, so I would like to share some of the scientific and technological innovations of ancient India. So we can trace the scientific and technological innovations of India. So from the beginning of the Paleolithic age, when the man was started his life as a it's clear, no sir?
Yes, sir,
Hello.
clear.
Okay, sir. So we can trace the history of the invention in India from the Paleolithic period. After the nomadic life, in the course of time, he invented to use fire and to protect his body from the weather with skin, bark, and leaves, and to tame the wild animals. In India, as well as, as all over the world, people lived thus for many thousands of years. Then very recently, in the perspective of geological, great changes took place in man's way of living. So, certainly not much earlier than 10,000 BCE. And perhaps as late as 6000 BCE, man developed an aggressive attitude to his environment. He learned how to grow food crops, to tame domestic animals, to make pots, and to weave weave garments. Before discovering the use of metal, he taught himself to make well-polished stone implements. For in advance of these uh, of the Paleolithic age, such implements have been found all over the India, shows that the beginning or origin of the history of innovations in India. So after that, the first civilization, when in India, that is Indus Civilization. So from that, so still now we number of archaeological remains or artifacts from the Valley civilization. So from that, so based on that, how that Indus peoples they adopted that scientific knowledge, and how they were advanced in several aspects of the way of life. Particularly the how the Harappan civilization or Indus civilization flourished for nearly 8 centuries was, according to some researchers, the youngest but by far the largest of the three most ancient civilizations like Egypt and Mesopotamia. It was observed for its efficient planning of towns with inter-drainage system, dwelling houses built with standardized burnt bricks, wheel-turned ceramics, terracotta crafts, spinning and weaving, tiled, uh, tiled flooring, bead making, more importantly, copper bronze casting by the lost wax process. Within this Harappan civilization, which has flourished many towns and cities, including Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Chanhudaro, Kalibangan, and Lothan, which have proposed an agriculture-based economy with granaries and other storing techniques that made for an enriched community life. While there is a vast range of archaeological data concerning about technical skills of the people of that time, there is a little or no more information about their scientific ideas relating to astronomy, medicine, mathematics, and the like. This is because their script found on early 3000 seals, sealing, etc. But unfortunately, till today, we are not able to decipher the seals of scripts of the Indus peoples. If definitely, if we are successfully read out that seals, a script of Indus, so we'll get further more authentic information about the life and their achievements in various aspects of the life. The Indian civilization has a long recorded history of scientific culture that goes back to the more than 500 years. Indians developed one of the earliest written script also known as the Indus Script, built urban towns with residential complexes and wastewater system the way back in 2500 BCE. The ancient Indians produced the Delhi iron pillars that has remained restless for more than 500 years. In 500 CE, they discovered the zero and were the first used decimal place value numbers system. The cotton gin, an Indian invention, was the first runner of all geared machines that actually made the way for the West to bring about industrial revolution. Indians also created the long-term architectural constructions that have become rich world heritages. They smelted zinc, which required quantities, metallurgical knowledge on industrial scale and produced tons of zinc over the hundreds of years. The other Indian contributions include use of uh, alcohol distillations, crank, drawbar, milling and spinning wheel. The traditional crafts are the areas in which Indians were at excel and crafts produced by Indian craftsmen that were contained to be a great demand even now at time. An ancient animal drawing and some text engraved is shown from the pictures or paintings of the cave temples or earlier period. For Indian astronomers, the star had a special message. Consultations were observed and movement of moon and sun studied around 3000 years ago. Jantar Mantar, a cluster of huge machinery identifications was created by Swami Jai Singh II for analyzing celestial movements. Charaka Samhita, Shushruta Samhita, and Stanga Rudaya that was written between 1st and 7th century CE from the base of Ayurveda or traditional Indian medicine and are consulted even by modern doctors and practitioners. The Vedic peoples that came in 1500 BCE, their literary compositions provide an overview for their culture, specific scientific traditions. The Rig Veda, the earliest of the Vedas, tells about natural law or order called Rit as the governing principle of the universe and its events. Even Vedic gods were not exempted from this law. In course of time, this principle elaborates the concept of truth and dharma, which is the cultural part of cultural habitation of the Indian society. The Vedic seers were also deep observers of the universe. They were very much aware of the motion of the moon and motion on path of the sun, developments of eclipse, and and had also had developed lunar lunisolar calendars with various methods of intercalculations. More importantly, they developed a stellar frame of reference in terms of 27 or 28 uh, nakshatras or star groups lying along or near the ecliptic in or in the path of the moon and sun. One of the 6 branches of Vedas and the earliest Indian astronomical text, going by the name of Vedanga, Jyotisha or astronomy, had organized a concept of a cycle of 5 years for lunar, solar, and other time adjustments. With recalculation at proper and regular intervals. Later, the Indian astronomers adopted a big cyclic period of 43 lakhs 20,000 years. At the beginning of this mega cycle, Yuga, the planets were supposed that they are in the conjunction, and after going through integral numbers of revolutions, the accordance to the Earth. And after that, the scientific development in the other fields like the mathematics and astronomy, 1,000 years before the time of Copernicus, Aryabhatta was 476 CE in India, made outstanding contributions to astronomy and mathematics. His contributions included the determination of the diameter of the Earth and Moon, the proposal that Earth rotated on its axis to explain the daily motions of fixed stars, the solutions of quadratic equations, defining the trigonometric functions, stressing the importance of zero, and determining the value of pi up to the fourth decimal place. During the 3 centuries before and after the Christian era, astronomy became based on mathematics. There came of a new class of astronomical text called Siddhantas and final solutions, in which the now familiar 12 sign of Zodiac gradually replaced the Nakshatras system, along with the new astronomical methods for determining mean longitudes, planetary motions, ecocentric, epicyclic models, and trigonometrical aspects, all of which point to possible Hellenistic or Greco-Roman influence. The 5 noted Siddhantas are the Paitamaha or Vasistha and other Romaka and Surya. Of these, the last Surya is the most accurate according to Varahamihira, who in his Siddhanta summarized their contents. In any case, this text, which underwent some modifications, continued to be used as a major basis for traditional calendrical computations to this day. Some leading astronomers come mathematicians of this age were Aryabhatta first, Bhaskara first, Brahmagupta, Lalla, Aryabhatta second, so Bhaskaracharya second, Madhava, and other famous mathematicians, those who contribute immensely to the field of this mathematical science. So after that, another important scientific field of the ancient India, the traditional medicines. Among all sciences, medicine was the most advanced, considering the fact that Atharva Veda, one of the 4 ancient scriptures of India, mentions certain herbs with curative powers. Several ancient texts on physiology identified factors as those which determined good or ill health. The traditional Indian medicine, Ayurveda, focused on longevity and prescribed several remedies for the same. Gold, silver, mercury, garlic, and honey are described as having specific curative powers. The vast treasury of Indian medicinal things. The medical text of ancient India, some of these have subsequently been credited with the same curative powers by modern scientists. The yoga traced the holistic approach to health based on proper diet and physical exercise. Today, even modern scientists accept its efficacy as one of the most efficient way to stress-free, healthy living. The traditional medicine is shown, it was proved as one of the best medicines described to today's present life. Charaka, the great Ayurvedic physician of the 1st century CE, had written Charaka Samhita, the first scientific medical text. Charaka's work consisted of 8 chapters devoted to pharmacology, diet, treatment of major diseases like fever, diarrhea, consumption, uh, leprosy, and other diseases. He also wrote on such specialized subject as pathology, embryology, and anatomy. The 4th century came the Sushruta, who is considered the father of surgery. In his treatise, Sushruta Samhita, he listed about 125 surgical instruments used by him in his surgeries. The detailed methods of operations among other subjects. In his time, he is believed to have performed cesarean sections, done plastic surgeries, and set compound fractures. The veterinary science was another field which had been developed well in ancient time. Hospitals for horses, elephants, and cattle. A special branch of Indian medicine was devoted to the treatment of elephants and was called Astayurveda. Besides Ayurveda, Unani and Siddha has also played a major role in traditional medical science of India. So after this medical, the another important scientific field, that is metallurgy. In India, metallurgy has a huge and varied history. Bronze and copper were identified in the field of Indus Valley Civilization. The recovery of metal articles and the discovery of crucible with slag attached or obvious variable of knowledge of casting and forging. Then these points of the fact that these early peoples that could produce and manage temperature as high as 1084 degrees Celsius, that is melting point of copper, as also 1065 centigrade, the melting point of the gold, and 960 degrees centigrade, melting point of silver, and other metals and the melting points. A later achievement was working with iron with its melting point 1533 centigrade. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and Lothal are the 3 major sites of this civilization. At Lothal, the state of Gujarat, the 2 types of kilns have been excavated. One, a circular kiln that measures 1 meter in diameter, that was most probably used for smelting copper, and the second, rectangular kiln measuring 75 into 60 and 30 centimeters. This is believed that have been used for casting tools. And another important thing about these, the tools are unique in the entire Harappan civilization, and neither do they have matched to Harappan tools. Indeed, the Lothal was already a rich town prior to the arrival of the Harappans, which was around 2450 BCE until 1600 BCE. So 1050 BCE is usually known and accepted as the year in which the Iron Age began in all of India. Iron is described by the Atharva Veda, known to specifically as Ayas. Previously to this, Vedas identified the term Ayas as a generic one for the metals. The Brahmanas and Upanishads referred to Lohitayas and Krishnayas. Lohitala, a red metal or copper, and Krishnayas is a black metal. 1000 BC is the accepted date for the development of extracted iron. Iron and its technology gave jerk to the process of industrialization, and lives of the peoples changed accordingly. And after that, the cultural associations with iron, the painted grey ware culture, black and red ware culture, megalithic culture, and these cultures were followed with the invention of iron, and how by using iron, so they tried to, develop their lifestyle according to their the new necessities, and also with the new metals like iron, particularly during the megalithic culture. So we can see still across the India, we have that number of sites which belong to megalithic period, so which were built by using the big stone slabs, and so where we can found the the tools or the equipments and ornaments which were used by that particular period's man. And also in addition to this metallurgy, so we have other scientific uh, technologies like the field of like gemstones and gem therapy. Almost everything in this universe is composed of 7 basic colors. There are 7 colors in rainbow: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. According to Hindu belief, each planet emits certain cosmic rays, some beneficial while others are harmful. The ancient Indian sages had discovered that there are ways to counter the harmful effects of the planets. They came to the conclusion that as remedial agents, gemstones proved to be far more efficacious than herbs or metals. Gemstones function as a cosmic filters, enhancing the beneficial rays and blocking the harmful ones. The gemstones are shown, gemstones are, I mean, even today also, from the ancient period to the present period also, so we are using the gemstones for various reasons. So according to the ancient texts, gems exert both positive and negative effects. It was observed that each planet is associated with the gemstone. Every gemstone has the inner strength to absorb radiations emitted by particular planet. Therefore, in order to achieve maximum benefits, gemstones of astrologically identified planets are to be worn, creating right even environment for good health, progress, happiness, growth, and development. The gemstones are chosen according to one's birth chart, which was recorded the planetary configurations at the time of one's birth. The right gemstone of an appropriate weights has to be worn particular day for the best results. So after this, the chemistry. The chemistry is also one of the scientific field. As a separate discipline of science, chemistry was virtually non-existent for a long period. Alchemy was a particularly the sole
Hello. Hello. Sorry, you are not audible, I think. Asar sir?
Yes, sir. He is coming, sir. He has some problem, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes. He's coming again. He has some problem. He had some problem. Now it has been resolved. So he will continue.
Sorry for the inconvenience. So I'm not able to present the PPTs. Okay. So after that, the metallurgy and other branches of science. The chemistry is also one particular scientific field, which is also considered the important aspect. The alchemy was practically the solo constraint of this branch till the end of the medieval era of the history. There are mentions in other texts of the renowned chemists such as Patanjali, Damodara, Vasudeva, Charaka, Susruta, Harita, and Vagbata. In addition, there were Nagarjuna, Suri, Padalipatta, Suri. So these are the ancient chemists, those who contributed for that particular period. Alchemy was the research for gold through the base metal lead. It was an obsessive quest the world over, and mercury was the main player in the process that were mystical as they were scientific. Since the 2nd century CE, alchemists had developed code names for the metals, minerals, and gemstones. The Jain alchemy records such as Swarna Rupaya, Siddhi Shastra by Jinnadatta Suri reveal some of the facts like Dhammo was mercury, also known as Purda, and this changed by the end of the 18th century when the initial alphabets of the words were used for the rather than the full word. For example, he meant gold, rasa mint, mercury, and other mineral calamine. The most famous of such works is the Rasa Ratnakara, for long wrongly ascribed to the authorship of Nagarjuna in the 2nd century. The text was later found to belong to the 7th or 8th century and is not to be confused with the 14th century Rasa Ratnakara by Nityanatha. The close connection between the tantric religion and alchemy was reflected in many works, most of which are now lost. As mercury found widespread acceptance in the world of medicine, alchemy lost its characteristic future. Mercury was no longer a mysterious substance of secret art. So after this, the other development of techniques like the ship and shipbuilding. Shipbuilding was one of the India's major industries until the British dismantled it and formally banned it. And the medieval Arab sailors purchased their boats in India. The Portuguese also continued to get their boats from India and not Europe. Some of the world's largest and most sophisticated ships were built in India and China. And farming techniques is also one of the important other area of the science. The Indian farmers developed non-chemical, eco-friendly pesticide and fertilizers that have modern applications. These traditional pesticides have been recently reviewed in India with excellent results, replacing union carbide products in certain markets. Crop rotation and soil technology that has been passed down for thousands of years are traditional practices which India pioneered. Historically, India's agriculture production was large and sustained a huge population compound to other parts of the world. Surplus were stored for use in drought years, but the British turned this industry into cash cow, exporting very large amount of grain even during the food storage. This caused tens of millions of Indians to die of starvation in the 19th century. And even like this, we have other scientific and technological evidences, particularly water management, how from the ancient period, the Indians, they adopted the techniques for the irrigational methods in their agriculture. And through this, even the other aspects of like electricity and magnetism, the heat, hydrostatics, and other fields. So we can search how the Indians, they adopted and developed that scientific approach in from the ancient period. So even today also, some of these scientific inventions of Indians are accepted, and also they are model for the other scientific inventions or innovations of the present scenario. So still have more materials, but sorry, I am not able to present the PPTs. So if I presented PPT means it will help you to understand more. So with this, I am ending this. Thank you.
Okay, so sir, there are some questions in the chat box which
sir.
you can reply. And the students, you may ask the questions if you have any to sir, you may ask. Sir, there is question, I think you also can read. Chinmay Pogli is asking,
Yes, sir.
sir, why were these different types of cosmic rays reflected by different planets, connected or associated with one's emotions and life problems? We all know these people believe in these things. Was this the same
Sir.
case in the days? And that's the reason people started wearing gemstones.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You may reply, sir. Kantharaju, sir.
Sir, I'm not able to hear you, sir.
Sir, the question is in the chat box. You can also read.
Hello.
Okay, Chinmay,
Hello.
Chinmay, you can ask yourself.
Chinmay Pokre. Yes, Chinmay, you can speak now.
Hello.
Ah.
Sir, can you hear me? I think
Yes,
there
yes,
will be a lot
yes,
of
yes.
disturbance.
We can hear. We can hear.
Okay, sir. Sir, my question was that, as you said, the planets reflect different kinds
Hello.
of cosmic rays, and they were predicted by the ancient sages and all. So, why were these different types of
Hello.
cosmic rays
Sir, is
connected?
it audible, sir? I'm not
Yes, audible,
able
sir.
to hear you, sir.
Sir, we can hear you.
Hello.
Kantharaju, sir, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Sir, is it audible, sir?
Yes, sir, it is
Yes.
audible.
Hello?
Very much audible, sir.
Hello. I think he's not getting our voice. Hmm?
Sir, I think yes. Hello? Yes. Kantharaju, sir?
Sir.
I have talked with him. He has some problem. He is not able to hear us. So he
Okay.
will disconnect and then he will reconnect again.
Okay, sir.
So we will wait for a few minutes.
Okay, sir.
Or meanwhile, what we can do, if Dr. Banwasi sir wants to talk something, he can talk meanwhile, I think. Will that be okay, sir? Lade sir?
Hello.
Yes, one.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, he is trying to reconnect. So meanwhile, you can talk if you want.
No problem, sir. We'll wait for him. We let that question answer session completes, right?
Yes, sir, I have talked with him. He has some problem.
Ah,
He is not able to hear us.
okay.
We can hear
Right.
him, but he is not able to hear.
We'll wait for some time.
Okay, sir.
Sir. Now I am audible, no?
Yes, sir.
Tell me,
Yes,
sir.
you are audible, sir.
Now it's audible, sir. Okay, now it's clear, sir.
Sir, the question is in the chat box. You can read,
Okay,
or the question can be asked by the student also.
Okay, sir. Okay. Ask them to
In my
Yes,
Chinmay,
sir.
you can speak.
Okay, sir. Sir, my question was like you said that different kinds of like different planets reflect different kinds of cosmic rays. So, why were these cosmic rays related to or like connected to one's life or their emotions? Or and because people still believe in these things these days. So,
Yes,
was
sir.
this the same case in the olden days? And like, is this the reason why people started wearing the gemstones?
Okay, sir. So first of all, okay, see, today you just observe the peoples across the India. Most of us we are believing the God, right? And we are afraid of the God. Even today we are advanced in all the aspect. I mean, today we are living in the technological world. But even though even the most learned peoples also they are wearing these gemstones, and they are still they are believing in that. But if today in this scenario or this kind of the knowledge era, so we are living in today, but even though we are following that tradition, so definitely in those period, so they're compared to this present, so definitely in that period also they believed more about that cosmic rays and cosmic energy. And even today also whatever we are achieved in the advancement in science and technology, so still we have to believe in particular supernatural power. Maybe in that aspect, so they believed that the natural things or nature itself have remedies for our problems. So by staying in nature or by obeying the nature, we can get solutions for our problems. So maybe in that aspect, from the that is there from the beginning.
Sir, but my main question was that uh, why were these these cosmic rays?
Yes, tell me.
Sorry, sir. Sorry about the disturbance. Why were
That's
these like how these cosmic rays affect our life? Like they say, right? You are Bangalik, so you can't marry certain people, or you are to marry piche Rahu ke. So those sort of things. What were they? Are they related here?
maybe yes, okay. So for this, no, we can say those who are facing that problems, no, so they can I mean they will be the example for us. So even though they have all the in what's called the resources or knowledge, whatever it may be, but still they are suffering from several issues, or no, whether they are knowingly or unknowingly, they are mentally, physically, they are suffering some such issues. Definitely, while seeing that kind of peoples, so we have to believe that. So some particular, uh, environmental things are there, which is controlling us.
I think, sir, you can answer some more questions. Are there in the
Yes,
chat
sir.
box? Sir, Abhishek Yelikar is asking, were there any major inventions in medieval history like in the 13th or 15th century?
Definitely, there were several inventions, because medieval period, in the sense, the in Indian political scenario, the new rulers, they came to India, that too from Central Asia. The uh, Turks, those who came to India and established their uh, political power. No, so definitely they borrowed whatever the traditions, the scientific traditions they followed in their native place. That traditions were also implemented in India. They became the sovereign rule or power in Indian subcontinent. So for that, for example, the warfare techniques or the other scientific inventions like the irrigational techniques or methods, and the while in the art and architecture field also, no? So we come across the new introduction of new styles in the all the aspects of cultural life, particularly in the art and architecture. So with the coming of that, the Turks in India, the new style of art and architecture styles were started. That is Indo-Saracenic or Indo-Islamic style. That too by using that the Persian style and the native or indigenous style. Like that, definitely there are several examples for that. And even the warfare activities means the way the war weapons which they used, they are definitely early, different from the earlier or ancient period.
Sir, there are more questions.
Yes, sir.
Abhishek Yelikar again wants to ask about cannons. When
Okay.
these are invented or and started, people started their use in the warfare. Cannons.
And then, yeah, wait, sir. So definitely, Mughals, Babur, one who introduced cannons in India for the first time. The first battle of Panipat.
Okay. Sir,
Okay.
Hardik Sumaya also has a question. He wants to ask, as you mentioned about Ayurveda. So I
Yes,
want to ask that in 21st century, is there still demand for such Ayurvedic food and cosmetic products? But I think it
so
is positive.
yeah,
Answer
yes, sir.
is in positive. We still
Yes, sir.
use Ayurvedic things, no?
Yes, sir. Because that some of the new brands, Patanjali and other things, no, the people still they are fond of that Ayurvedic cosmetics or the medicines and other kind of things. Even food also.
Yeah, many
Nowadays,
of us still use different kinds of medicines, different kinds of other products also, skin products also, cosmetic products.
yes,
Still we are using.
yes, 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 sir, yes, sir.
One more question is there, sir, I think. Himanshu Bhavni wants to ask
Ah,
that achievement in science is our past. Currently, we are
yes,
not contributing that much in science. I think it is not a question. He just has written some comment.
comments.
So he is saying that in the past we have achieved so much, but in
Hmm.
the present time we are not contributing that much
But we are
in the field of
contributing, sir.
science.
I have one quote, sir. I forget to mention that. In 2018, in UK, the Science Museum, London, they organized one exhibition. Okay, so in that exhibition, the director of museum, Ian B. Ford, he said that uh, Indians India's history and culture are built on a rich tradition of scientific thought and innovations. So it shows that since the ancient period, and even they in that museum exhibition, they exhibited that Indian contributions of Indians. And the curator of the same museum, the same occasion, he said that it is Indians born and educated engineers who are developing and leading teams behind some of the most important technologies we have today, including Intel Pentium processor and even the USB. So in the present major technical technological equipments, inventions, that behind that the Indians or Indian minds or Indian science or the scientists are there. Moreover, most of the present and today's scientists and engineers and doctors, they like to go to foreign countries. They're studying here and they're benefiting here, and then finally they want to stay in foreign countries. Then how can we expect that from them to contributions to Indian science and technology?
Okay, sir. One more. I think two more questions are there in the chat box.
Yes.
Rishabh Talankar is asking, how can we use our past or Vedic knowledge in the present times?
Okay, so definitely there are ways. For example, as I told about the Atharvana Veda or Vedas, the four Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama, and Atharva Veda. Particularly the Rig Veda itself mentions about the two scientific branches, that is astronomy and mathematics. So whatever the mathematical terms which still they are definitely borrowed from the Vedic Vedas only. So based on that, still not only now we are already using that Vedic scientific innovations.
I think, sir, if we want to use such knowledge, first of all, we have to study that in detail. Then only
Yeah,
we
we are
will be
there.
able to use, because most of the people don't know those type of knowledges. They
No, sir.
don't study, they don't know, and if they are not able to read those things, study those things, and it is not possible to use those things in present times, in
No, you
present
are
modern
talking
science.
language. Huh? You are talking about language. They are in
No, sir,
Sanskrit
not
language.
language, knowledge, sir. It is there
But
now, but somebody has to read that properly in
yeah, but
detail.
that is not happening, sir. That is not happening.
Yes, sir. That's why I'm saying.
Education, in educational institutions, we need to impart that knowledge.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. I think these the questions are not relevant. Other questions. Anyone else? Some. Is there any other question from students or some other? Any other question? Any other question related to science, history of science in India? From anyone?
Oh,
Sir, I have one question, sir. Kantharaju, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, whatever he has asked, actually, I want to ask the same question, actually. In the present times, actually, we are not contributing that much. We are not able to compete with many other countries. So
Yes, sir.
what should be done to make it happen? Like we are doing the present, the IIC, the AICT has formed institution, innovation council for innovations. Such things are happening, but actually the tangible efforts are not there and tangible things are not coming out. So what can be done to have more innovations, and we can bring the past glory in the present times? So this question has been asked by some other students also.
Yes, sir. For this, definitely, it's a good question, sir. But thing is, no, why we are not able to contributing to that science and technology means. So somehow we, the Indians, we are now not in a position to concentrate to contribute to knowledges. This is the one drawback, first thing. Because now in India, almost the India now, okay, we go anywhere, the North India or South India, the peoples today, they are money oriented. Isn't it, sir? Almost all the fields, you take engineers or doctors, first they will ask, so what is the package? So if their money oriented means, how can we expect from them a fruitful inventions? We should change our mindset, and even dedication is also not there as earlier it was. How the famous scientists who contributed from the ancient period, even the government level also, whatever the policies and the programs they are implementing. So in that process also, that process are not effectively implementing and effectively monitoring the overall process. Maybe because that is the reason. I mean, for example, almost all educational institutions and faculties, they are taking projects, right? So if you just go through that project means, so we can easily assess. So how far the projects are helping the society, or how far the policies also helping the system.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I think now we can stop. It is almost 3:10. So I invite Dr. Banwasi sir, Dr. Bharat Banwasi sir. He is the president of Institution Innovation Council of our institute, Lakshmi Narayan Institute of Technology. So I invite him to say a few words for. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Kantharaju sir, for giving nice lecture here on history of innovation in India and how we are performing. So, as a part of Institute Innovation Council, that is by AICT, so we are organizing some sessions for our students to know the insight of innovation, entrepreneurship, startups. These things are there. So for that, whatever lecture you have given here, that was very important and that is useful. Students should know what was going on earlier. So what type of innovation was there, right? What type of systems were there? What type of literature it is present there? So that is quite important. Uh, at the end, what you have said, that means whenever we are carrying any research or something like that, so proper dedication dedication, it is very important. Hard work, it is very important. And then only some output it is possible. And it should be targeted again. That means when you are doing some hard work without targeting anything, so that is again quite difficult to get or achieve a certain goal there. So objectives should be clearly defined. Objectives, then what is the goal, what you want to get at the end, and then the hard work, the resource management, and then you will get something at the end in the form of maybe some patent filing or publication or some technology transfer at the end. So this lecture was very important in that sense, and student will get good insight from this. They will get many things, and thank you, Dr. Asar Ahmed, for arranging this session under Institute Innovation Council, Dr. Lade, uh, our director, sir, Raju Mankar, sir. So thank you, sir, for giving such a nice lecture. So we'll close today then. Thank you.
Sir, at the end, please switch on your camera so that we can take a photograph.
I'm not able to
Not able to switch on that.
Yeah, everyone.
All of the students also can
Yes,
start
yes,
their
yes. Yes, yes. All students.
students, please start your video also. Whoever is there.
Yes.
Yeah, now it's better.
My video is It's visible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Now it is
now we can
visible.
see you. At the last, at least now we can see you.
Now it's clear, sir. Earlier
Now it's
was
okay.
not-
ठीक है.
Yes, sir. And
Yes,
I
sir.
voice
Yes.
also, sir. Thank you for your opportunity,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, now it's over. So
Yes.
thank you very much, sir,
Thank you, sir.
for providing this opportunity.
Okay.
We will continue further also.
Okay, I will close the meeting now.
Now we can leave.
Okay.